Hello and hi there, and welcome to another Good Neighbor Talk. I'm your host, Dion Hill, of course. Uh, Welcome to the fourth episode. If you just first coming to us, we present it through the IME app and through YouTube, and hopefully you already have the app. If you don't, you can download it and you can see great content that is being uploaded almost daily. I want to start off tonight um, talking about myself before I detail the topic. I am about to be 52. I was born in 1970. So I guess I'm a combination of a child of the 70s and the 80s. And one thing about me that, especially when I was growing up and when I was younger, I was big into television. And to the extent where as though I, and for people that are younger, I'm going to just age myself by saying I basically had a photogenic, photographic memory when it came to the TV guide. And probably today, everybody talks about the guide is, it's digital, it's on your TV, and you can scroll and just find whatever you want to see on there. No, we literally used to get like a paper, like a book, and it was in your Sunday paper, or also you could get the actual, like the national TV guide. But I used to be able to like, basically memorize what was coming on television at a certain time on a certain night for 7 days a week. Yeah, that might seem like a great task, but you got to also remember we didn't have all the channels that we have now. So we basically had, especially if you didn't have money, just basically had three, six, 10, and a couple, UHF channels. You might have like 7 or 8 channels to watch television. And growing up in the 70s and slash 80s, most of the things that were on television was for the masses that we consume. That's so actually seeing somebody that looked like you or that could be a portrayal of you was very hard. I mean, I knew basically the shows that were, with black people, in those days was like the Jeffersons, Good Times, Different Strokes, um, Sanford and Son. But of course, when you're a kid and you just watch whatever's on television. So I had a vast knowledge and just would watch, Happy Days, MASH, Family Ties. Uh, Got older, it'd be like Cheers and Seinfeld and things of those nature. And one of the things that I realized as I became like a teenager and got more affluent to what was my, around me and start reading and learning more things about history. Majority of the time when it came to like television and movies, we basically quote unquote got whitewashed. And majority of the popular movies and television shows was generally for the majority of the country. And that's what's put on. It's so interesting because I am from I am born the same year as hip hop, as rap music and hip hop culture. And I have no understanding or knowing, really know anything about any other type of music other than black music, R&B, Motown, um, and hip hop. All the songs that I may hear that are from like white artists or like might be rock and roll or from those different other genres is because I heard them in TV, on TV shows or on movies. So, and actually growing up in a school, going to school, which was basically 96, 97% black, I didn't get that influx of like diverse uh music and cultural choices like like for instance my children had growing up in a more diverse and an integrated school system. But I do feel as though, and I know that when I got older and I glammed onto certain things, like for instance, when I would start studying the civil rights movement and um, the different Jim Crow and the struggle, because when I was a teenager, I belonged to, a pro-black organization that a couple of my cousins had put together, and it was around the time that Public Enemy was very popular and it came out in the late '80s, early '90s. So I started, learning about Malcolm X and things of that nature. And even prior, if I back it up prior to that, when I was, like I said, when I was adolescent and start reading books, I saw that with my people, our people, when we were actually protesting and we were out in the streets and whenever we were out and about, we were wearing our Sunday best. We wore shirt and ties, and women wore, dresses, and you wanted and show some type of like humanity. Um, so you can seem like real people and like almost professional and respectable because you had a shirt and tie on. And I like emulated that. When I was in all my years in middle school, I wore a shirt and tie, and dress pants and shoes, and carried it. And most kids carried a duffel bag or a backpack. I carried a briefcase, and that was because I saw that as just being representative of being respectable. And I got that from the '60s and from the struggle. And it hit home for me. You know, representation matters. And when you look up representation, it basically talks about how a, a person, me, or a group, black, LGBT, are seen and actually put in perspective that somebody else that is part of that group can say, yes, that's me, or that is who we are, good, bad, or indifferent. But studies show, and I know indefinite for definitely that when you see somebody that is like you on a big screen, a small screen, or on the radio, you hear and they're talking about things that are personal to you and they look like you or they have the same demeanor, the same upbringing, or they are like minded, or if they are the same, I would assume the same. And we talk about community having the same type of identity or the same preferences. These things give people joy because you know it's just not me, and then you it gives validation. I've always say, like, when it comes to my children are from the Obama era. My oldest son was 10 years old when Barack Obama was president, elected president. So from the time that he was in fifth grade to the time he graduated high school, he had a black president. And that representation mattered because we always would say in the past, and you can be anything, you can do anything, you can even be president. And we would scoff, but it was no more. You didn't have to scoff. So I want to bring this thing, and I'm talking to allies, and I want to know, want them to know, or possible allies, that when it comes to seeing LGBT representation, when it comes to movies, television, or you get to see rainbow flags and things of that nature, don't get defensive. Don't get overwrought with the thought that why is this happening? I always have looked at it as where as though, progress. Because the bottom line is these people exist. These people have always existed. And their stories and their representation of being in the mainstream is just reality. We often either, according to you work with somebody, you know somebody that is a friend, family member, or even a foe that is part of the community. I often get frustrated when I see all these bills in all these different states about actually trying to relegate people in the LGBT community, especially trans people, out of like existence or like they don't exist. That's just taking a blind eye to the fact that all these people are here. They've been here always. This is not something that's just happened in the last, 15, 20 years. Um, it is not something, I mean, a lot of legislation has been being pushed in the positive in the last 20 years. And you be seeing the backlash of that now. And representation is being misconstrued as indoctrination. Damn, what is indoctrination? Indoctrination is ultimately an ignorant ploy that homophobes an anti-LGBT community people use to push on people to say words though, if you if we allow these people, and I'm saying these people because in some aspects they don't believe that people in the community are not even really people. But if we allow them, I don't know, basic rights that everyone should have the right that, there is no second class citizens in this country. But if we allow them to walk around openly, free, and be themselves, then they're going to make our children that way. And this because they're going to indoctrinate them into becoming gay. And like it's a glee club. Like it's a team. The ignorance that often displayed over the years in the past where it's like I don't play for this team and I don't play for your team. I'm on this team. How would indoctrination work? Or is this Jim Jones? Is this some type of cult like I don't know MAGA? Because indoctrination is whereas though you actually, if you look it up, is when you actually tell a person or a group and you give them these directions for them to believe, and there is non-negotiable pretenses with that. These are the rules that you follow. This is what you must do. This is who you are to be in this group. I'm gonna tell you this. I've been around people in the community uh, many, many times in the last uh, 7, 8 years. Too many times they even count. Too many people in the community to even to pinpoint. I've been in situations where as though I was the minority about being a about being a straight person in that room. Not even being a minority. I went to Women's Fest. We did uh, we did a event for Women's Fest down in Rehoboth, and it had to be less than 10 men like around working the event. I didn't feel uncomfortable in any way, and I didn't feel any type of from the event and what they're talking about, like trying to indoctrinate people into a way. Representation is a positive thing. It's a positive thing for everyone, and I'm speaking from what we have in our IME app, but when you, it's so positive because it gives a positive viewpoint to everyone because you can actually beat down those doors and those stereotypes when you actually get to learn something about someone that's not like you. And that is vital in the way that we have to be in this society. It matters because someone who is coming up and they see a person that is like them, it makes them feel good and it gives them positive reinforcement. I can recall um, the first person. Now, granted, the first person that looked like me that I really like gravitated to was, and this don't laugh because but Charles Barkley, because Charles Barkley was a heavy set, bald. Now, I still had hair when he came into the league, but people often said I kind of favored him because we was like the same complexion, and especially when I was of the age where I played basketball on the go to the courts and stuff like that, and I was like aggressive and heavy set and you know the round mound to rebound or whatever. So like I gravitated, I seen him and I was just like, wow, that's a guy that I root for. And when everybody was Michael Jordan fans, and even to this day, I'm a Charles Barkley because he represented me. And I can't play basketball. I couldn't play basketball like on a team or anything like that. But I like that person because he looked like me and he was doing good. He represented the fat guys, you know? And I'm pretty sure when it comes to people in the community, when they see someone on television or they actually have, movies and uh, that's dedicated to their plight, that's a positive because it's a head nod. How many times do person like if we sit there and we watch a movie and it depicts life that we have lived, or you can see and be like, when it's actually written by somebody and directed by somebody that's actually from that community, and you get it right because so many times somebody else is telling our story. Somebody else is telling the LGBT people story. But when you actually have directors and writers and actually have actors that are part of the community, it's so more forceful. You know, so many times, and before the quote unquote reckoning in 2020, a lot of times when it came, people would play characters that they weren't, you know, they weren't, people were, even when it came to cartoons, we have white people portraying black characters or brown characters. And then it was just like, wow, you can actually find a black person or a brown person of that ethnicity to actually do these things. Did you know in Scarface, there were basically really no Cubans? Yeah, they had Italian and Jewish people playing like Cuban gangsters. Yeah, because that's how things work. Now, when it comes to now, it's a plethora of opportunities on television and in the media and a podcast. I was listening to a commercial when this listened to my regular podcast, and they were talking about on iHeart. They have a plethora of like a section of like gay podcasts from people that are in their teens to people that are like old. It was a commercial for old gays, and that's the name of the podcast. But it's for older gay men, and they talk about their lives through the generations, and how it changed from the 70s and the 80s until now. It's That's an awesome perspective. So when I see people talking about representation, and I get this sometimes I talk to some other heterosexual people, and they think that representation, when it comes, to the quote unquote gay agenda, it's gone too far. I have to actually have them understand, like, this is what has to happen in order for people to get some insight. And so, whereas though the community needs support. And what about, often I talk to parents that have children that are part of the community, and try to explain to them that when they see or they talk to people that are part of their community, and they see that they're thriving, this is a good thing, because it's not just a good thing for the LGBT community, it's a good thing for everyone as a whole. This is the whole concept of the good neighbor, or being your neighbor, my brother's keeper. If 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 my neighbor and my friends, or people in my community, or people even outside the gay community, if the gay community is fly, if the gay community is, you know, I'm trying to think, I couldn't get it right, but is doing well, then that's good for everyone as a whole. I mean, it's so many different things that have been coming on lately. I don't know as many as positive things, but I do know about. I used to watch. This is, don't laugh at me again, but I used to watch Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. I thought it was awesome show. I watched RuPaul perform, and I will watch drag queen performances on television. Um, I've had I don't remember what was that. Oh, I can't remember the name of the movie with Wesley Snipes, um, and I believe Ving Rhames. Uh, but they were they were I believe they were drag queens in that.
They were
What
trans.
was that one?
Wong Fu.
What was that, Pierce?
It's
Get
Tu
in
Wong.
here, help me.
Hi
Tu
everyone.
Wong Fu.
Tu Wong Fu, one of my favorite
I love that movie.
movies.
And I don't, and I know I love that movie, and I mean they were awesome portrayals. But you know, if that movie was made today, they would have get real, actual trans actors to do it,
I think so.
and that's the whole.
I hope so.
I would hope so, but I believe that to be true, because, and now that you're on here, because you can help me out, because you would know better. But representation is being put even in, like for instance, the Marvel movies with the externals. They had a gay married couple in the externals, and that was a hundreds of $1 million, Marvel movie. So, and often in when they remake TV shows and movies, they put in gay people now
Yeah.
as these characters because it's the realization of, guess what? These people are always been there. I'm pretty sure. I mean, we grew up in the same era. The whitewashing of how television, how we was based. That was indoctrination. That was true indoctrination on what we had to watch.
All of it was indoctrination. Since I'm on here, I did hear you talk a little bit about it, but I think people probably want you to uh describe what do we mean by broaden it to like a gay a LGBT scope of what indoctrination is. What does it look like? If I'm an ally and I'm confused about it, what do you mean? Um so these topics that we pick is based off of I guess you could call it from a black perspective, things that we see. And if you
Yeah,
are a white person, click the link and chime in and tell us your experiences. But in our community, we have this thing where we believe there is a massive gay agenda.
agenda.
And every time we see a depiction or insinuation of anyone being LGBTQ, it's automatically the Illuminati is coming for our children, and their first step is to turn everyone gay, and then they won't populate, uh, have children. They won't marry and have children because same-sex couples don't have children, in which we know same-sex couples do actually go find
That is false.
have children.
Totally false.
But this is what this is about. The belief that everything LGBTQ in the media is coming for you. When you see a trans actor, oh, they're coming for us. When you see maybe even I saw some cartoons that had like LGBTQ characters, and they're like, oh my god, they're coming for the children. They're
Yeah, they're Disney. They
gay.
Disney. They're on. Yeah, they
Yeah.
have. They have. hmm
And so we want to try to understand that that is truly not the case. And even if Hollywood is doing that, we don't want you to view it that way, because being LGBTQ does not work that way. You can't get jumped in. You can't watch a movie and then turn uh being a part of the community. At least I know for me, I didn't watch, what was the first LGBT movie I ever saw? Probably the Women of Brewster Place.
Of Brewster's Place.
Yeah, that that little depiction on the fly. I
Yes.
love when they showed those two characters on there. I was intrigued because uh I had never saw two women actually be together and talk about some of the hardships. Like I love that they functioned. They had great careers. They lived in a neighborhood where they weren't accepted and they had to overcome those challenges. I've never saw that. Up until the Women of Brewster Place, I only saw innuendos about gay people in movies. And you had to really be a part of the community to kind of pick them up. So
Yeah. What was the term? They were roommates, and
yes,
that was it wasn't your mom's girlfriend. That was aunt. That was
auntie,
aunt. See, that was auntie, and they was roommates, and they lived together. But
right.
but it was said, but it wasn't said.
Right.
This is the part that I'm saying, like, whereas though I think America wants all that swept back into that unknown, that closet type of thing. They don't want it in their face. They're hiding this
But
from they're hiding from reality.
and it's very dangerous. It's dangerous for the heterosexual person, and it's very dangerous for the LGBTQ plus person. Um,
I think it's dangerous for the children.
it's dangerous for the children. It's just dangerous in general. One of the reasons that concerns me when you don't see positive role models on the television representing yourself, whether you're black or the intersections of being LGBTQ and black or just LGBTQ in general, it makes it, to me, coming from my perspective as being in the community, it would make me feel like something is mentally wrong with myself. I'm watching television, I'm seeing all of these heteronormative relationships, man and woman, children. I'm not seeing myself. I'm not seeing two women. I'm not seeing two men. I'm not seeing a trans person in whatever type of relationship they decide to be in. It'll make you feel like, okay, I might need to see someone because the sexual attraction that I'm having is not right. Um, I remember before the Women of Brewster Place, besides the innuendos, um, if you watch quickly, like I'm one of those people that love movies and I watch intently. If you ever saw one of them pit movies and they had the little hole strolls and you saw, that's where you saw a quick glimpse of a trans woman, and they would
Yes,
have like these different little terms for them that I won't say here back in
yes,
the day that let you know that that was insinuate, oh, that's a man in a woman's clothing. So that was kind of a negative. And before, like I said, the Women of Brewster Place, I thought that was the only space that we could exist in. And then I know, like me in the 80s, it's either we could exist on the whole stroll or we were club kids getting high.
right,
No,
right.
nothing.
That's interesting because even with, I mean, if we want to look at the black experience, when we talk about movies, beginning we only could be mammy, we could only be butlers and maids, and then when I was growing up, and I'm pretty sure at the same time we was always drug dealers, pimps, or hoes, or we were in some type of service. If it was never, it was yes, it was us. You seen us, but we were never in a positive role.
Prominent
And
role.
mentally, that actually, or you will watch saying different strokes. The only way that these black kids, these poor black kids came up was due to because the white savior came and pulled them up and pulled them out. So I mean, it wasn't really no positive. That's where as though I see the kinship with representation. Whereas though if you only seeing these quote unquote people that are like you and it's only in a negative way, that'll actually make you feel some type of way about yourself.
Right. Made you want to hide. I know it
Yes.
made me want to hide. Like, okay, I I see myself in these people. Let me hide that piece because I don't want I don't want anyone to believe that I'm going to be on a whole stroll or I'm going to be a club kid that's going to be on a bunch of drugs, or even in your neighborhood when you would see the gay person. I know in my neighborhood, yeah, they were accepted, but it was always the little side jokes. Oh, him,
Mm-hmm.
that girly man and all of that. And the gay one, they would call him. I hate this word. Oh, you come that dyke. It's you
Mm.
wanna. You didn't want to
Yeah.
associate yourself, but you knew you were like them and you just kind of kept it, you know. And for me, I was a late bloomer. I didn't come out until my late 30s and 40s. Like I dabbed a little, but I was more
Hmm.
comfortable coming out because I felt, if I'm going to do this, I got to I got to escape being like the stereotypes that I've seen, the club kid, the person that's on the stroll, um unstable. Like I saw a lot of unstable gayness in my neighborhood. Like, yeah, you knew that was the stud, or it wasn't a stud back then. They were called dykes back then, but they were also really
That wasn't the only thing they was called.
bull
Cause my grandmama had a word for it. It
bull
started with
daggers.
bull.
Yeah, bull,
Yeah.
bull daggers,
I was like, I don't know what
all kinds of
the
names.
hell was that?
But because of the times, they were the ones that I saw were unstable. But now, I didn't understand that as a younger person, but now I understand because of society, they didn't have the opportunities that most the limited opportunities that if you were a black stud or whatever, black women had. So that's why they were always, depicted as unstable and I get it now. And so I hid it until I could become stable and able to take care of myself. But one thing that made me positive about being who I was is when the L word came out. I love Noah's Ark. I loved it. I
Yeah.
love Noah's Ark. But I saw myself more in the L word where you could be professional. You could have a family. You can their life was just regular. It was like a regular hetero lifestyle and I loved it. And I'm like, okay, so wow, here go the shining light on what I could actually be like. This is more my speed. So, representation is very important. It changed. I know it changed my life. If anybody's watching, feel free to click on the link and share. But I think this topic is really important because when I
Yo, you don't. I think I was an ally with. I don't even. I watched the L Word
did you
faithfully. Loved it. It had and now that I think it had nothing to do with me at all. But I watched it. It was on Showtime, and I
you
it
learn?
had that on what was it, Jennifer Bills?
Yes.
Beautiful. I think I was just attracted to the women that was on there, even though they were scary.
No,
And then
I
it had
think
Pam Grier with her sister.
you were intellectual. You probably was watching it to learn. You
I,
were
I, maybe I,
like
but it had Pam Grier. I like, yo, what year was that? Like, I am, I'm feeling good about myself now because yo, I literally I watched that show and like I think that was in the early 2000s, right?
yeah, and I
Shit,
called. So you was
I was
watching.
woke before woke was woke.
I was combing through the show, just really intently, like, wow, Bet and her wife,
Yo,
and they're married, and they have a child, and they're doing,
yeah,
and she has a beautiful house, and I'm like, okay, so this could happen for me. I'm not going to be a club kid. I'm not going to be unstable just because I'm in this lifestyle. I can actually build something for myself. And it also inspired me to want to become an entrepreneur because those women were not
yeah.
just
It was
LGBT.
lawyers, it was architects.
They were their
And
thing.
then they did. But see, I love that because they did dabble because the one girl was a wild child. She
Shame.
was the Shane. She was the yes. So it was like
But she was a
they gave you
professional
that perspective. Yeah, yeah, but they gave you that perspective, right? It wasn't like no, she wasn't. she wasn't out on the streets or anything like that.
Right,
These were people, but they gave you that perspective of where as though these it's, and I think we talked about this, and I've learned this from being around. It's just different types of people in the community,
right.
even that's part of the community. They it's different factions. They do different things, and some are, like I said, some people are promiscuous, some people are faithful. You know what I mean? Just like that's why I always say, yo, it's like they just everybody's the same. It's good people and bad people. It's promiscuous. Is monogamous people. But you gotta, oh, it's all there, and it's all represented. All in that rainbow is all representations of society.
Yes. Yes, and I love how they added that twinge homophobia with the lady that actually turned I'm gonna say she was bisexual. I don't know really what her identity was, and she had the husband and she left him.
Yeah,
But it gives you a scenario of homophobia and how to deal with it. I mean, when you watch depictions of yourself in different scenarios, you actually formulate coping strategies, as to how you would handle certain situations. So that's another thing that I took away from the L word. If I was in this situation that Bet and her wife, and I would probably behave like this. If this happened, I would do this. I was able to formulate that better in the two women dynamic versus the woman and the man dynamic.
but and I don't want to get off on a tangent, but I think that is just so familiar to a lot of people's struggle. Whereas though I was watching like I can't even remember a show. It wasn't, but it was an episode of a regular show. But like, uh, the guy's uncle died, and his aunt, the woman that he was married to for 30 something years, she she wasn't really sad. She was sad, but it wasn't. And come to find out when he dug into it that his uncle was gay, the woman was gay, they were friends, they
They had
married,
the beard. That was
they were each other. Yes, yes, they lived their lifestyles, but they they lived separate lifestyles. But they, in order to live that way, they lived a beard life,
hmm
and it was just another dynamic that I had no idea, but this is what people did to survive.
hmm
And especially when you talking about women not being able to have bank accounts or being able to go out on, have, credit cards and things like that. Well, back years ago. So this was a way.
uh,
And
yeah, not to cut
and
you
he didn't
off.
have to deal with the trauma and the issue of being a gay man because he had his dear wife. you know?
Well, for those of y'all looking, if you, I encourage you to download the I Am Me app. As I remember all of these different movies and stuff, I upload them in the allyship section, and then we also have the section that breaks down each letter in the acronym. We still are working on the queer and the pansexual, so forgive us, but we're just up to the T. And
Yeah.
in those spaces, you could watch movies, content, all types of stuff for your educational purposes or just for entertainment. Because at IME we do believe that LGBTQ plus
I
representation.
suggest somebody dig up the L word for real.
I will find the L word and see if I
Because
can add.
that was a good series, and it went on for years. That was a good.
And
Yes.
even the negative representation, I think, has some positives to it. Like, I don't know if you've seen Kiki Palmer's Pimp, because there are good and bad archetypes of every orientation. We all
Mm-hmm.
have our moments, but I think it's great that you see them so that you can understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you can understand and be able to differentiate from people. Because I think a lot of times heterosexual people make judgments and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's okay. So I'm looking at you, you a stud. So I was raised that studs, again, like what I saw, they're unstable. Um, Carpet munchers that steal heterosexual women. But if I get to watch a movie and I see studs doing other different things, this stud may not be that. She might be Shane. She might be like I said, the Kiki Palmer is, if you ever watch Kiki Palmer's Pimp, Kiki Palmer was a stud pimp that made her money on the streets. So this helps you to be able to let go of a stereotype and actually make correct judgments on people when you see different images, because
Right.
we are just we're just like the heterosexual community. You have the cheaters, you have the liars, you have the ones that are well educated, undereducated. We're just like that. We're not a deranged community that's doing a
It's
whole
not a monolith.
stuff.
Like when we in political terms, we always say black people is not a monolith. We don't. We not. We're a diverse
Mute.
group. Oh, I'm on mute.
Or am I on mute?
I I can hear you. You can't hear me.
I can hear you now. Yep.
Okay, I heard you. You might. I was saying we're not a. You the LGBT community is not a monolith. Just like how we often say the black community is not a monolith.
Right.
We all have diverse. And on the same instances, whereas though the community has, you have people that have, that have religion, and you got people that are, maybe spiritual. You have people that's, that
Yeah.
may not have religion. Like it's it's varied. You got people that's parents. You got people that's single. Like people that don't want no kids. People that have kids, and then it's a diverse. I just learned so much just from just not from particularly about television, but when you actually sit and just talk to a person of the community, you realize that the same struggles, the same positive things, the same, all of it's the same. As just like heterosexual.
It is. It
They
definitely.
complain. They complain about their partners just like you do.
Mhm.
The same way.
Yep.
And guess what?
Same
I was
problem.
so I was so pro gay marriage, and guess what? Gay people done got married, and gay people be getting divorced too, just like that. So wow.
Probably quicker. Probably lesbians
How
probably quicker.
I don't even. Yeah,
The U-Haul lesbian.
look, and you might know. Look, it's just like going. What it's almost like being Muslim. Like they go because when you Muslim, you go see the uh you go to their religious. There you can go every other week and get married and divorced over there. It's crazy. Yeah,
So if you
that's a good thing.
yeah, so if you watched Dion's show last week, we had,
Yeah,
might as well put it back up. We had how to diffuse
she was the homosexual. Yes.
Yes, we had how to diffuse homosexual conversations, right?
Right.
Let me see if I can make it bigger. There you go. So tonight's show is for you to be able to plug in the concepts. Each Good Neighbor show has a blog associated with it within the
Yeah.
IMO app. And this show is called "Is Not Indoctrination, Is LGBTQ plus Representation." It's with this topic, when you we have a blog and it tells you scenarios where you might need to take the information that we're saying tonight. We don't have it broken down, it's inside the blog, so I guess I could run quickly through the reasons why it's important to understand uh LGBTQ plus representation. um it's increased acceptance. It gives you exposure, allies exposure to the community, reduce
Yes.
prejudice and stereotypes, like we explained.
Yes.
Features diverse characters in media, and it normalized the LGBTQ plus identities. Um, Promoting empathy and understanding, like Dion said, watching the L Word, you learn so much about the community. You're like, oh my God, I didn't know this. They were just like us, they had the same problems. And creating a more welcoming environment. Once you have a basic understanding of the community, it's easier for us to be in spaces with you because you're not as uncomfortable. And another thing is supporting, it helps you to be able to support LGBTQ youth. You won't be as foreign. You'll be able to have those uncomfortable conversations and not risk being afraid of turning gay yourself, because that's just, it's not going it's not going to happen.
It's
And,
not reality.
and then the last
It's
thing,
not real.
it's fostering inclusive language. Like you learn the lingo. Like even Dion knows the lingo, but you notice he avoids saying certain things. And I give him shots out for that, because why would you want to say dyke or bull dagger and all? Those are offensive terms to most people, but not
Right.
some people. That you have to fill that out. But with that, tonight's topic underneath the educate, if they're open to it, if the person is having discussions talking about the gay agenda, or just having a rant, them faggots on the TV, I can't believe
Mm.
that faggot teacher or that
Ah.
homo teacher, then you can have these conversations. We, again, it's on the How to Diffuse Convo blog. We have the link
Right.
here. Make sure you're in a safe environment always. Don't come at a homo
Always.
if they are dangerous. That's just something we don't want you to do. And you set the boundary, let them know, like, listen, I'm not with this. I don't believe in I'm not homophobic, and if they're willing to listen, then that's when you go into some of the stuff we talked about here. And read the blog, it'll be on our IME pages by tonight, and kind of take these concepts and put them in your own wording to where it flows naturally off the tongue. So when you got to have this conversation, it just breezes through. So it's just another plug into how to diffuse a convo. That's basically it. We want you to have ally toolkits. We want you to be safe and secure, and to be able to have these conversations. We wanted to give you tools. So if you go on the IME app and you click the allyship, it's all there. And there's videos there. It's just so much information in
It's so much information that's there. And uh it starts off as soon as you get on there, it's always some type of word of motivation. And it's from real people. Those
Yes.
words of motivations are from real people. So that's there. That's every a weekly motivation on a month. And then like this week, our ally blog was based. It featured Beyonce.
Yes.
So who doesn't love Beyonce? But don't comment. I don't need comments if you don't love Beyonce.
The beehive coming at
No, yeah, no. but I'm saying it's so much information with uh on the app this week, and it all basically uh kudos to peers that just like updates it regularly. You'll all, and if you're part of the on the app, you'll see that you'll get these notifications of the new post, and then you can get be informed. It's just it's very user friendly, easy to just scroll and then click into whatever subject that you want to be interested in. Oh, if it comes from just something that's going in with trans or any type of different bills or some different story that's throughout the country. And if you're not on there right now, Ari, right now, we're streaming like right inside the app right now. Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
right now.
So when you so and other you'll see actually previews or for the other shows that we have that'll be scrolling in there. Like I'm telling you,
That's a
this
yeah.
next I mean the summer with this show, like it's like the next few months is going to be pivotal. It's going to be a lot of things going on in this app, and as you it's just a couple days from Pride Month. Wow, yeah, yeah, but it's good. And you know what? I'm ignorant because like I feel like every month, every day, being part of IME and being like on boots on the ground, it's like it's always Pride Month. You know what I mean? If it makes any sense, it's like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, oh, you talking about that calendar shit? Yeah, yeah. Okay, but
You
it's
mean
like we.
why?
My bad. I'm like, oh wow, yeah, it is June or whatever. But I just want to reiterate, like the app, and just it's just so many positive things. There's so many good information on there. We need we need to really download. And then I want to thank you for actually you know putting in these additional tools, because these things are vital, and it just really opens up your eyes to how representation is such a positive, and and it can make somebody actually feel so much good. In a sense, where as though we could be saving somebody's just we can, and
Right.
I don't want to get to the straight. I don't want to say save somebody's life,
You are.
but it's really important, because if
So
you see somebody that's positive and there's somebody that's like you can say, I can go on. It gives you the strength to saying, I can go, I can be that person.
mhm.
And all you need is somebody that's like me, that's just going to be like, I'm here for you, I'm down with you. Yeah, if you need a champion, that's what an ally is, a champion for the community, because you rah rah rah. And we don't just need you to be a champion from June 1st to June 30th. We need you to be a champion daily. Because I know I just know, and I mean I don't like I just know a lot of the daggone people are coming out of the woodworks with, and I don't want to say they're fake loyalty. Yes, but it's some fake allyship is coming for the next 30 days. And don't worry, we won't be a part of that. But we won't be a part of that. But I hope everybody enjoyed this. And I thanks for coming on with me tonight, Paris, and giving it, damn, and hit me with the L word. I don't know why I was just I couldn't, man. I love that show. I mean, if you for our viewers, if you haven't seen it, dig it up. It's probably somewhere on. You just got to Google it. It's probably It's on one of your daggone apps. You can find it somewhere, or the Showtime or Max or something. It was. If you want to have an understanding of
The
some
lesbian community.
powerful lesbians and not the stereotypical and just from the home ownership, professional, um, being in monogamous relationships and actually stepping out and just like all the things that you would see. It was like Knots Landing or Dallas or one of those. So it was a soap opera, boy. It was good, but
It was. I can't
yeah.
remember the guys. I can't remember the men's version. I watched that too. And that guy was so off the hook. I can't remember his name. Oh my god. He became the surrogate dad for one of the lesbian couple on the L Word. And
You say it was the spinoff show?
his
Or
name
was
was
this?
Brian. I think his name was Brian. Oh man, I can't think of the show. Oh my god. Let me see if I can find it. Oh my god. His name was Brian. I can't remember. Maybe someone in the comments.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I cannot remember the name of, I know the L Word, but then it was something. Um, but anyway, it was another it was a gay male actor on there, and he became the surrogate, and he was like so arrogant. But again, these were, well-to-do gay people. Even the gay men were doing their thing. Only thing I didn't care for about the L Word, and I'm gonna see if I could find it and place it in the IME app. The only thing it was really lacking was black representation.
Yeah. Well, the main character, but she was biracial.
Yes.
And but see, then you had Pam Greer, her sister.
Yeah, but she wasn't actually
She
in the
was
community. She
Yeah,
wasn't.
she wasn't in the
Test-
community, right?
Tested it out, and it didn't work out for her.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't even know how they now if they updated it and remade it now, it'll probably be more diverse.
They do have Generation Q. I
If
haven't
that's
gotten
okay.
into it, Generation Q, but there is another L word called Generation. Generation.
Okay.
Yeah. And there are if you go into the mobile app, there is a new show out. I watched it. It was about someone in the closet. I thought it was a cute teen comedy to help you learn about acceptance and coming out and the power of I loved it because the ally was really, she was a true ally and helped him navigate coming out. So it was a good show. I mean, let me see if I can find the name of it. I love watching, I love watching movies that depict just the not just LGBT people, just depicting people just being in a society, diverse people
Right.
just doing their thing. It makes the world seem more realistic. It's called overcompensating.
Oh,
Fabulous
oh
show.
my God. I
On
just heard
Prime.
about that. Yo, I just heard one of my pods. I mean, this is look, and this is the cute good thing about algorithms and being so one of my pods that I listened to, they did a commercial for overcompensating. It's like It's the story of I believe they're college students. It's a gay man who is hiding. He's closeted gay, and he's hiding, and he starts dating this female, but he is overcompensating, being very masculine, and it's just supposed to be. I heard it was really good. Did
It is.
you? Are you right?
I
It
watched
is
it
good.
all. It was cute and good to me.
Yeah, yeah. But she is. But the female's supposedly overcompensating about something also. But it's just basically
She's
they. She's straight, right? Okay,
she's straight.
but he just won't come to he come to grips. So
He
he's basically
okay, so he knows that he's gay, but
right.
because he wants social acceptance, he's doing everything that a jock would do to make his
Okay.
parents and friends. So yeah, it's a good show.
It sounds like it's part like that's reality. Plenty of people have faked the phone.
Uh-huh. And then the
Yeah.
girl that was his beard ended up being his best friend. And she's like a super ally. Like, we're gonna find you somebody. I'm gonna go on the internet and create your dating profile. She's going all the way in with everything. So it's a good show. It's a good show. And I think the sister is a lesbian in it, but she has yet to come all the way out.
Well, now we're giving programming tips for people to watch. So you can see what hey, here you go.
And the L Word is on Paramount. You can go on watch it on
Paramount Plus? Paramount, the Paramount show. Oh, I got yeah, I have that.
or you could go on
Yeah.
YouTube and sign up for Paramount. So
Yeah. I think it's only
12
$5.99 or $7.99 a month or whatever. Get a
something like
free go get a free trial and go watch
go
episode.
binge watch.
Go binge watch, yeah.
You know, it's another good one that's free if you got Prime. Is it on Prime or Netflix? Nurse Jackie had a lot of
Yes.
I love that
See, that was another Showtime show too.
great
Like the
period.
L word.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a great period piece to kind of show you historically what it was like to be LGBTQ then. And I loved it. I totally loved it. And if you go back and watch it, you can kind of see where Trump is trying to take you. If you watch it with the whole what it was like when we were listed in the what is it, the DSM, the manual, the psych manual. I can't remember.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we were listed in there, and now you know if you were frequenting gay clubs or you were outed during the lavender scare, you were actually put in the mental hospital. And you'll see on Nurse Jackie how these women were subjected to all kinds of treatment, the cold baths, you saw the lobotomy. Oh my god. So Nurse Jackie is that's a great movie if you want to find out exactly what went on back in was Nurse Jackie around the 50s, 40s, 50s. So check that out. I wish they would have had a season 2, but no, they don't. And another old goodie, to me, which was an innuendo for gayness, and maybe not you, Dion, but I always felt the Odd Couple was a gay was a
Yo, you know what? And what was that? The 70s?
that was the 60s or the
Was
70s.
it the 60s?
I
I don't.
I think it was
These was grown ass men as roommates, and I don't recall. I don't recall them ever. And I'm talking about
the
were they I don't know, were they divorced or any of that? I don't remember. I
But it just,
can't, but I don't remember them ever dating or anything.
no, but it just struck me as a older gay couple
Yeah,
as an innuendo, like they're living together and like nobody knew they were gay, but they was, I don't know, for some reason it just felt gay to me. I could be wrong. It felt like a gay show. Like you were supposed to read into
it read in between the lines.
yes. Yes. Oh God. That's
Yeah, right. And one was because one was neat and then Mathau was like the slob one, and he was like a sports writer. It was Felix and Oscar. That's
I,
what that name is. Felix and Oscar. Yeah. See, I told you, I was indoctrinated in all these white shows because there was whatever was on television. I just watched,
right.
and because we didn't have a choice, because all you had was like 6 channels, so you just had to watch whatever was on.
Right.
So yeah, that's an interesting one. But
Yeah,
we didn't think about that like that about the Golden Girls though.
I did. I'm sorry. When you're
What?
searching for yourself, you'll I don't know. When you search for yourself, you find cues in certain things. Like
Okay.
the taller one, the daughter, I thought she was.
B. Arthur. Yeah, yeah. I know that was her real name. I can't remember. I can't remember the
I
show
can't
name.
remember her name in the show,
And
but
she was married to Stan, but she got divorced to Stan. You
this
said she was out.
for some
That's why
reason,
her and Stan didn't work out.
for some reason, I'm like, wait a minute, is that me? There is, you know.
Oh, especially with being married and then oh, and then oh, okay, I got you. You try
No,
to
but as
see
a young person, when you know that you are a part of the community, you search for yourself. Even
right,
in your windows, you're oh okay, that's but a heterosexual person, it might fly over your head like
right,
yeah. But I always
yeah,
thought he was the gay woman in the house with her mom there,
right. With her mom there.
keeping her together. I don't know. Yeah, that's what I thought. You're
Mhm.
like, what?
I was I get the odd couple. I could see that because I'm just like, yeah. You just start thinking like, that was weird. Why are these two grown ass 50 something men living in this daggone apartment together in New York? Hmm.
See,
Ah.
when you
Wow.
start to look for yourself, um, and not to get dark, we had to find ourselves where we could. If you
Gar-
were young and you got up and watched Showtime late at night, and only a few men probably know what I'm talking about, but I always thought Emmanuel was gay. The Showtime after
You ain't got to explain who Emmanuel. I know exactly who Emmanuel is. I know who it is.
so when you search for yourself, that's why representation counts.
Absolutely. At and all forms of representation, as you just said. Now you digging into my deep, dark, daggone 16-year-old.
That's why when Ellen was on TV, I'm like, why nobody don't see this woman a mile away?
Really.
Oh
It
my
was when she, you know what? It's crazy with that whole thing. I it didn't like shock. It wasn't like, oh, and I guess like I said, I might have already had the demeanor of a like a true ally. I was just like, oh, okay,
And that
cool.
comic, I don't know why. I was like, well,
Wanda Sykes,
yes.
yeah,
I said, oh, okay, there go us. And it was
yeah.
nice. It was nice to see we could be funny. It was nice to see us in those little lighthearted comedy movies that Ellen. It was just nice.
And you know what? You know that one person that's in the media that I think it was downplayed and just quite for a long time, but it didn't come out to really. I guess it was like don't ask, don't tell. But Robin Roberts.
Oh no, I used to watch the news and know. I would look at
No, no, I mean, no, I know what I'm saying. It was like don't ask, don't tell. Like it was not like I didn't know it was public. It was public. Like you
it.
say, you pick.
It wasn't public, but you know when you in the community, and that's another.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
When you in the
Yeah.
community, we know us when we see us, even
Okay.
when we're not out. So that's
Right.
why when people say this indoctrination, we've been on TV. You just didn't know we was there. Just
Right.
like Pee Wee Herman. I'm like, oh, okay, okay, well, whatever. It's funny that you're playing this this
Yes.
character for kids, but we all know who you are. That's why I didn't understand why the world was in an uproar because he, had an adult moment and back
Uh,
in the day,
yeah.
little where you put your little coin in the slot and
Yeah.
yeah. So it's not indoctrination, people.
No, it's not. It's not. People are who they are for a reason, and you can't. There's no art of persuasion going on there. you
And
know.
and why? You're an ally. Why would a heterosexual person think that we're trying to coerce you to come? Nobody wants that hassle of fighting you to be. That would be a lot. I never understood that perspective. Trying to get you, wrangle you over, force you to be gay, have this intimate relationship with you. Why would anyone believe that would be easy?
I I wouldn't I wouldn't think that that would even be possible. I my stance has always been because uh in my personal life I've talked, some women who've done some things or whatever, this, that, and other. What like being curious, or the what was the running joke in movies? Is it like, oh, they did something in college with somebody, I was drunk or something, like this, whatever bullshit, whatever. I always look. I don't look. None of that's indoctrination. I think some people may, in a past show years ago that we discussed, when on our other show talk about, whereas though somebody is not 100%
Hetero
something.
flexible.
That's what, right, being
Hetero
hetero flexible.
flexible.
That's what the term was. And, so it's like, okay, some people, but I don't, being coached onto the team and getting pushed into a way. Nah, somebody had to have some type of tendencies, or willingness to go in that perspective,
Yeah.
and they may use alcohol or some type of inebriation to cover for the reason why they decided to quote unquote experiment or whatever.
I think it's
But
natural to experiment to figure out who you are and what you like. I think it's unnatural for you to fit into the social construct and deprive yourself of what it is you like. That's torture. I don't think you'll ever get to feel the kind of intimacy, not not even the sexual piece, just the intimacy that you want when you shut yourself off. Um, so
if you deprive yourself of the way you who you actually truly are, yeah. But I think that's in general, and not even talking about being part of community. I mean, I'm saying if you just deprive yourself of your true self,
right,
how can you actually truly be happy
right,
if
right,
you if you always if you if you always playing a character?
right. I like
So,
this
but
topic.
yeah,
It's a good
it's deep.
topic.
It
Yes,
is.
yeah, it's deep and it makes you think because even my mind is running around. I want to say to allies and future allies or homophobes, representation is good for everyone, and don't feel bad if you admire a LGBT character. It's nothing wrong with that if they are a phenomenal actor and you love them and you're like, I'm a fan. That doesn't make you gay. It just makes you a
That's so
fan.
stupid. That's so. It's just so. It's so. I. I don't get it, and because we loved entertainers, we love artists, we love design, we love people's creative ability, and a lot of people that's in those spaces are part of the community. What make so what makes them any different because we love their artistry. I just think I'm gonna use the term my sister still uses the old term from the early 2000s. Just stay out of people's bedrooms. She still says that. Why why do I give a damn? And you know why? They're, people are people. Just let's we you always used to talk about how this country is based on a, a you know your merit system, and like what you actually bring to the table as your merit on how good you are and what you do, and all the other things should be thrown out of the factors. But I'm going to say if you actually find somebody that represents you and that looks like you, or maybe represents you as one of the persons in the community, someone like a Laverne Cox or something like that, that showed like that represents you, and you feel though that she's a positive thing, like that's a good thing.
It
That's
is.
a good thing. And I learned, and this is from me, like I said, I learned a lot of stuff about her from watching Orange is the New Black. And,
Oh, I
and then
love
no, I'm saying I watched the show, and then I actually I'm like, oh wow, wait a minute, she's actually, she's trans. What? Then I start, and again, this is years before I was even part of this. So I mean, like sometimes I guess I was like being programming myself to be in this position now because why would a straight black male care? Like it didn't. No, I'm serious. But I now I'm just looking at these different images and these different shows that I watched. I, I was a quote unquote ally even, or trying to learn. I was educating myself if I was truly an ally, or to just try to have some understanding. And that's I think that's the true nature of allyship, or even being a good neighbor is get some more information before you have a decision. All these images and these shows and movies that we're talking about, like they were good. They were good storylines. They were good actors, and they gave you some understanding of what the quote unquote life. I
Yeah.
hate those terms. I hate those terms.
I can't remember that movie with Will Smith that was so groundbreaking.
Not was it 6 degrees? No,
It's,
was it 6 degrees separation?
I think it was, but that was
Six
a
degrees for separation. Separation.
yeah, yeah. I think it was, and that
Yeah.
was about him with the trans woman. Wasn't it a trans? See, and that was my first. I mean, I always, I always knew that drag queens, existed, as performance wise, but that
Mm-hmm.
was my first time actually taking on what it meant to be trans. Now that terminology wasn't out back then, but
No,
that was
not
my
at
first
all.
time gaining
Be-
some understanding and wanting to research and some wisdom about the trans community.
I know because I believe I went to high school with a trans person.
You probably did.
No, 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 no. I'm talking. I just took him as being gay,
Right.
but and I don't want to use his name or whatever this that. But it was a Hispanic guy. He made his hair big like and he wore tighter fitting jeans. He was very petite and flamboyant. High voice, this that and other. But he basically carried themselves almost like a female. And I never thought anything of it other than that was, you
Who she
know,
was.
that's who they were. But
Right.
I just stood like, oh, Manny's, and I'm saying his name wasn't Man. Oh, Manny's gay.
Right.
But looking back at it, because Manny wore woman's jeans and like disrespect when we wore the jean jacket sets and stuff like that, and like the shirts, and because I believe Manny was trans,
See? But look how
but
crazy you were about it because you saw all these depictions and you like me, you probably saw people in your neighborhood. So it wasn't really a big to do.
and I don't know because I wasn't in Manny's clique or whatever like that, but graduated with me. I don't know what type of, if any, what big pushback or any type of, but had a lot of friends. A lot of this, the Spanish girl. He was friends with a lot of Hispanic. And it wasn't the situation where as though Manny was sitting alone at lunch or anything like that. So I think you know what I mean. It was some positive, and they were able to be themselves. And this This is 19. It was 1990. They were themselves for the most part. I don't. Wow. I'm just saying. I would do that person. Looking at them. That I went to high school with a trans person because that's definitely
So, with you
yeah.
seeing all of this stuff, I gotta ask you the question, the number one question. Did you ever feel like you wanted to be gay because you came in contact with these different people and you watched all these different movies? Did you want to be gay?
Well, I like the crazy thing is I didn't never think about it as watching gay people and stuff. It was just like I already told you the L word. I was attracted to Jennifer Beals, and it just so happens that and being a daggone pervert man, two women getting it on was all right with me, like type thing. It was never no. I'm just saying it was never no. It is just stupid to think about because it's just more like I didn't even realize till we had this conversation all the different things that I actually have seen and actually have consumed over my lifetime.
And you
And it
didn't
was
turn
just
gay.
no, it was just education and just like knowing just something that I'm not familiar with. And it's so dumb to think that I I don't have, and I don't never feel as though I actually have to pledge my allegiance to you know justify who I am or whatever because it's so I think more or less people that I have come in contact with they have a problem if they have to question. I dated somebody and asked me those questions, certain questions, because I have I have certain mannerisms, or I play. You know how sometimes you play talk or whatever this, that, and other. Or I like had interest, like I pay attention to how women dress and with nails and shoes and color collaborations and things like that. And I just tell I was raised in a house full of women. I mean, or whatever. Having a bunch of aunts and a mother and having a lot of female cousins or whatever. But it's just like gay because you have, I mean, that what how something's supposed to look and how how to color coordinate, and you don't actually just walk around with your hands in your pants pockets all the time or something like that. It's so we get especially being black is it's very you can have very awkward conversations because black men try to be heavy masculine
Yes.
to the point it's like almost like disrespectful
To the
to
point where it looks closeted to a LGBTQ person.
exactly like you are you are overcompensating.
Yes.
And especially with in our we always use the term of with represent, and we talk about representation, but in our culture we always represent. You need to rep for the culture and this, that, and other. you know it's so funny when you see certain shows or different episodes of certain things, and then the biggest, most masculine, dudes, they talk what they wind up being those what's it called? They wound up being them polar bear. What? I'm sorry, hey, I'm not being.
A bear, a
A
bear.
bear, one of them bears. Yeah,
Oh Lord, a polar bear.
just like you know how they talk about it. It's people on football teams, you or whatever. You don't play with a gay player. You somebody's. It's just statistic.
That's
You
the
know, it's somebody that.
thing. Everyone knows someone gay, even if you don't
Yeah,
know that they are.
yeah,
You know someone. They're just
right.
probably not comfortable around you to actually come out. So
Or it's whereas though I know I know somebody that is gay that but because it's one of those don't ask, don't tell things. I don't. Whereas though I know that they're gay, but they don't bring that around me, and they don't bring that around their friends and their family. If that makes it's just weird
because it's not a
because
safe space. to,
yeah, it's not a safe space because right because the people that person is around are are like anti-gay, but
yes,
they love them, but you can't bring that life around here.
but
That's what I get out of it.
that's what's sad about that, going into this topic. If people were more accepting, that person that you're trying to hide could be a great representation for the next generation of gay people in your family. You could actually usher in and teach them the pitfalls that you went through, and give them positive encouragement of what the LGBTQ lifestyle could be. But instead you force the generations to be closeted, insecure, um mental health cases, and then you wonder why it's issues. Representation matters.
It really matters, and
Space.
that hurt me because this person that I'm talking about is awesome. I wanted to actually get them involved with I and me. But when I spoke to somebody, they're like, because they are in political spaces and things like that. But it's one of those things. It's like one of them old timey things, where as though this part of their life is like that part of their life is like, oh, you know what I'm talking about? How whereas though it's just like it's don't ask, don't tell. Remember, like it's not talked about. It's not like almost like they are asexual, if you know what I mean. Like we won't talk, we ain't talking about it, and it's not part of their the diaspora. So they wouldn't be available, or even they don't stand up for gay right clauses,
Mm.
even though they are part. It's just weird. It's just it's just weird. But I mean, you can also say person of color or whatever like that. They don't they don't stand up for So I
Yeah.
just you just leave it alone.
If you
As usual, when we get on here, we do a 2 hour show, but I think we done hit all the marks, and
I,
and yeah, and
I
what was you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I notice people are tuning in. As usual, the link is in the comment to pop into the conversation, or you could just type in the chat and say hello. Let us know what you're thinking, if you enjoy the show. Good Neighbor Talks is not a traditional show where it's really structured and you're just going to get the meat and potatoes and leave. We actually have a conversation. We're actually building. We want you to build with us and walk
Yeah, we
away
want you to
with
be
some
part of the
support.
conversation.
Yes, walk away feeling, if you're an ally, walk away feeling secure in your allyship. If you are part of the community, walk away feeling like you have a space here at I Am Me and your voice matters. So if you want to come up, come up. We only got a few minutes left. And also, don't forget everything, the tools and tips that you need that's related to this show is inside the IME app under the IME allyship tab. There
Yes.
you get the tools you need to be able to have these conversations. Um, and we just add the second piece, which is called the representation piece. We explain in the blog why it's important, and then help you to be able to plug it into the diffuse the convo blog, so you can have a full conversation with somebody as to why representation is important. It's not indoctrination. It is not a Illuminati scam.
It ain't no. It's
Legit.
not a cult. It's not a cult. It's
It's
not a gang.
no,
It's not a.
it's none of
It's
that.
not. It's not meme coin. It's not. It's not. It's not Bitcoin. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not like that cyber money. That shit.
Yeah, it's not the invasion of the gays. We're not invading your spaces trying to, what was the old term, turn you out. We're not. We're not trying to turn you out. We're trying to turn you on to some information about the community so you can make better decision and better judgment calls when it comes to us. Um,
And on the same aspect, you can have a better understanding, so you can have. You can actually see as an ally. You can see yourself in that person that's part of the community, because I think the only time we actually can find some truth when we talk about empathy and support is you have to feel some type of kindred spirit and understanding. That's why I said, after my takeaway from the first time that I did uh, a majority gay event in my professional life, I just my walkaway was like they just like me, just like us.
remember you saying that. They were
I
like,
was just
it's just the
it was
same.
just like last time I was just like, yo, that's all I and I it's just that's what struck me, because you might have some apprehension to be in a majority gay event and or this, that, and other, and you just be like, especially when you hear the stereotypical bullshit, but then it's just like, all right, whatever. I'm never gonna make this money. And then you just see like, oh, they get okay. All right. They just like, oh, just like me. Okay. Just saying and because you just hear the conversations that they have and about life and just it's so it's so normal, which I whatever that word means. But it's all of it's just normal, and we want the propaganda makes it seem like it's not, and that and don't allow somebody else to give you your opinion. I think that's really good advice. Don't allow anybody else to actually dictate your thoughts. You know, that's what indoctrination is. When it comes, and I'm not here to shit on religion, but religion, that's what indoctrination comes from, like a religious indoctrination. Whereas though you don't have any thoughts of your own. These are the rules and the regulations that you have to follow and stop. But people use that term when it comes to the community to scare. It's a whole fear mongering campaign. And because if you are not have the mental fortitude to have the understanding that can't nobody can actually persuade you and flip you to be anything when it comes to your sexuality or your identity, like your true essence of yourself. Yeah, they might be able to con you into buying, some, some bitcoins, or make donations, or actually have you buy a shitty blender, or stuff like that. But that your core and say, now I'm a daggone I'm a whatever I am now. You know what I mean? You change your identity, you change your sexual preference and all this, because somebody done talked you into it and gave you a pamphlet. They got pamphlet. I didn't know y'all had pamphlets to change. Do they got pamphlets about the gay agenda pamphlets to get people to join?
It's no space over here. We don't want you. We don't want you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just barely enough people in the dating pool. We don't want you. We don't want those flowers. And this, like you said, Dion, and I'm gonna say it in a more harsh way. Men, not one gay man on television could force you to put a penis in your butt. Women, ain't one lesbian can turn you out to be a lesbian or bisexual or whatever and force you to put your face in a place. That's just not happening. I'm gonna be graphic. It's not happening unless you already had it there inside of you. Okay, so representation matters. I'm glad to see myself on television. And I hope that after watching this show, you are no longer disturbed. There is no agenda. What's your next show about next week?
I have no idea. I need to go and worry about that. This weekend. I'll
I think we should go into the importance of education.
educate. I don't. I was about to say I actually want to go deeper into like the education, um, and dig deeper into what abstract of what I wrote in that blog from a couple weeks ago, because there was a lot of information. And if you haven't already, and you look at it, go back and check out our past blogs. Um, they're in there, so you can see what I wrote. I'm check out the Beyonce one from this week, but
Allyship.
the
This week was the allyship one.
allyship one.
We featured
My,
Beyonce,
yes,
Miss Beyonce.
and but mine was last week with the policies, and about how LGBT education and history in the schools matter, and how important it is to actually teach the next generation how to not be homophobes,
Hmm.
because obviously I truly believe it. I don't think people are born racist. I don't think people are born homophobes. I think it's a taught. I just like people pick up. If you never heard a curse word in your life, you wouldn't curse. When you see children that, huh?
I said, in my case, I've heard several, so I'm gonna agree with you.
No, but I'm saying when you hear children cursing at a young age, you know that they cursing. It's cursing that's going on in the home that they live.
Mhm.
Just to say, can children actually imitate and mock what they see at home or in their daily life? So if we actually teach them how to be respectful of different people, of different diverse people, and so whereas though, and actually teach them, so whereas though they won't pat mommy, daddy. Why does that person look like you can have some understanding and it's not the point in, you know, because they can know something and don't shy them away from these things. So education at the grassroots, I think is something that's very important, and we should actually discuss.
Okay. And
Yeah.
speaking of education, if that's what your topic is going to be on this week, well, this Monday coming up, the blog is actually the history blog again.
Right.
And in it, I will be talking about, well, we have some blogs that's when they are black centered, we put in black on it, and this is going to be in black history blog about a black LGBTQ plus trailblazer from the civil rights era. So
Oh, I might think I know who you're talking about.
so no, it's not
Yeah.
your bestie. Oh God, why I can't think of his name right now. Not your bestie that the movie was written about.
Oh, okay. Okay. You're right. He just passed away a couple years ago. Yeah, a little while ago. Yeah, that's what
Yep.
I'm.
This is about um
No, don't save it. Save it.
I'm
Save
not
it. Don't
gonna
give out
say
the
the
name.
name of the person,
Yeah.
but it's a trailblazer that is it's gonna be very surprising for a lot of people when they read it. Especially homophobes. Yes, it's gonna be surprising. And I guess one of the questions I'm gonna pose in this blog is, for a homophobe, are you willing to give up your civil rights? Are you willing to trade in your civil rights for your manhood? How important is it? Because as a homophobe, you detest everything LGBTQ, but this person is responsible for a lot of the liberties you have. So, are you willing to trade in your civil rights for your manhood? And when you read this blog, you'll understand why I'm asking this question.
Oh my God. Okay. I think I know what you're talking about now.
So it's going to
Because
be
yeah.
good blog, good information, and a great sacrifice by this trailblazer. This trailblazer sacrificed their life um, for us, black people. So it's going to be a good blog. Good blog. Good one.
Oh, that's a good tease. That's a great tease. And with that, we could close this out and say we'll see you same back time, same back channel next
Yep.
week, 7 o'clock for our good neighbors talks. And be a good neighbor and a good friend and a great ally. Because it starts with you. We only need one and then one more. So it starts with you. And thank you for watching us and good night. See you next
Good night.
time.